think this is the first laps I've actually run here, so I can't promise it's going to be perfect, but I'll walk you through a couple laps, and I do a qualifying run at the end. At the end of this 20 lap run I ran here, this 20 lap run, my right front was at 92, my right rear was at 92. So yeah, hopefully this helps a little bit. I don't have any audio, so I need to figure that out really quick. It's because I moved it. It's because I'm listening on my different setup. Sorry about this. Alright, here we go. So coming to a flag. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are two different sets of turns here. 1 and 2 you can almost go flat out. Qualifying you do go flat out. 3 and 4 is a lot tighter. Want to get out as close to the wall. This Z-Max here on the wall is a pretty good turn-in point. I try and trail the brake ever so slightly, like I'm talking minimal. You're probably down to about 50% throttle. It can be tricky to try and do brake and throttle at the same time and not let completely off throttle. At least I have a hard time with it. So if you struggle with that, you can essentially just go down to mostly 50% throttle, maybe a little bit less than that. So you can see kind of what I get down to here. Yeah, 50%. Keep it towards the bottom. You can see I'm still not full throttle. The end of this little patch here is a pretty good point when you can almost commit to going back to full throttle. I don't think it's going to burn your tires up too much if you go full throttle at that point. So I'm at it. I want to trail out to the wall as close as possible. So 3 and 4, you can see I kind of start turning in at the Z-Max. That might be a little bit too early. Well, you can start turning in there. I'm going to start braking a little bit after this. Race pace, I'm letting completely off the throttle and braking probably 30% or so. You'll see that here. So completely off. A little bit after the Z-Max. Yeah, it's right there. About 30%. And then getting back to the gas a little bit. Again, these little patches are going to help. So I'll start picking up the throttle a little bit more once I get to that patch. Ride it through here. Where the patch ends is another good point when you can commit to getting back more into the throttle. Obviously, you want to keep it as close to the yellow line as possible. Trail out to the wall. We'll do this one at full speed. The yellow line here is a little goofy. The reason the yellow line is goofy is I think there's like, honestly, I don't know. Like there's drains down here. That's kind of what Ryan Blaney hit in the actual Cup race when he flew up the track into Harvick. That's what he actually hit. The yellow line you don't necessarily have to follow. It's not really. Truthfully, I have no clue why it does what it does. Z-Max, turn in, 50% throttle. You saw I applied a little bit of brake there. And I'm already, at this point, I committed back to full throttle really early here. So I'm already full throttle here. Waiting a little bit longer for full throttle is going to help save the tire a little bit more. Here, start turning in at the Z-Max, but I'm going to be in the throttle a little bit longer, brake, applying more gas, and then as I hit the end of that patch, full throttle. So I think these would be pretty good race pace laps. I'll let it run one more at full speed without any pausing so you can kind of see it. A little bit of brake, 50% throttle, and then I'm easing back into it, committing back to full throttle. and trailing out to the wall. Alright, so there's that. Let's do a flying qualifying lap. Coming out of pits. You want to run higher. I don't think you can take your out lap at full throttle, but I barely ease out of it. Then I'm back to essentially want to be carrying as much speed as possible at the line. Turn 1 and 2 qualifying is flat out. Don't got to lift at all. No brake. Just stay in it as close to the line as possible. Trail out to the wall. 3 and 4, I don't think you need to brake on a qualifying lap. And see, I drive it in really deep, and then I'm just out of it for a brief amount of time, and then getting all the way back into it. My first lap was the fastest one here. I think I kind of goof 3 and 4 on this second lap. I get really close to the line there, but I don't actually hit it, which was ideal. I think I tried to full throttle this turn to see if it was possible, and it's not. Yeah, I just push out really tight. Lap's not that much slower, but it was a little bit. Something else I forgot to mention earlier. Setup-wise, assuming it's fixed setup, I did change my brake bias for race to 16 to 1. That really helps save the right front tire, usually 1.5 mile tracks. If you find that to be kind of sluggish in steering, you can always try 14 to 1. It does take some adjustment. I'm going to also drop the brake bias down to 61.5, which helps loosen the car up a little bit under braking, get it into the turns. Qualifying, I ran 12 to 1 steering ratio. It just allows you to kind of whip the car a little bit more, and if you needed to catch a slide, it'll allow you to catch that. You shouldn't have to worry about the car ever getting loose, it doesn't seem, with this setup and track. If you abuse the tires, it will probably start getting tight. I believe that's it. Let me know if you have questions.